Hey, what's up? I'm back with my trading recap for February 6, 2023. Today I traded SPY, and I'll quickly go over how I came away with $243 on a $1,500 account, just so you don't think 1786 after the day, so take away 243, and that's 1543 and change. So I guess not spot on a $1,500 account. My main watches, as I said in my video from Friday, were going to be this for us to come down to this 410 area. The way that we traded on Friday, we kind of fizzled out that upward momentum. We had a big pin bar up and then came all the way down. We still closed green, but it looked like that strong upward momentum we had fizzled out a bit. But I didn't think we were going to give up that 410 area quite yet. So one of the few times that I was pretty much spot on correct. So pretty pleased with that, and obviously that helps out my trading plan. The main watch for me was either this gap that we had over this weekend, this 1109 reject. Really what I wanted to see was us come up, touch that gap, reject, come down to, it would have been about 409 on SPY, but the main level was actually 4100 on SPX. And so that was my ideal game plan. We never got that gap fill, which was fine. I was very patient throughout the day. My first trade, I didn't even enter until 8:43, and that was the loser. I took 3 trades today, 2 winners, 1 loser. So we came down pretty close to that SPX 4100, and I tried for a call. It just didn't pan out. I got fizzled out because I was watching this. It was right here, and I actually got it towards the beginning of this 5-minute candle. We came down, and I just wasn't confident enough, and I didn't want to let this loser go big. And so my stop loss was that 409, actually 6 area. And so, I mean, I pretty much cut it 50 seconds later. If we go down to the minute chart, we can see a little better. 43, and then, yeah, I cut it a minute later. Because we came down, I cut it right there. And that was my stop loss, was the 40 area. But then the other trades that I took, I actually had to step away from my computer, but I was confident enough in what I thought for my execution. Excuse me, that's the wrong day. That I placed some buy orders when we started to come down, and I had a total of 5 contracts coming into this position. So I started my purchasing 915 and went all the way to 928. So this was my first buy, and then we got all the way through. I didn't actually get the bottom of it, but I got fairly close. And we did get a little extended on SPX. We came down about 6 points below, I think, from 4100. It was within my risk, and like I said, I had an alert for 4090 on SPX, and if we got below that and held with volume, then I would have cut those calls, and I would have switched my biases to puts. But we didn't. We just had a wicked wick down. We had a big wick down and then just kind of immediately bounced back up. I got 3 contracts purchased before I had to step away. I still had 2 limit buys for if we came down a little lower, and then I had to sell for 275 or 245. You can see the sell right there for 245, and then that 252 is when I came back. So it worked out almost perfectly. I got out at another one of 275, and then I finally got rid of the final one at 249. And that was at 1050. We just were chopping a lot, and I had a stop loss set, so I didn't want it to go any lower. I learned my lesson on stop loss on Friday. I got absolutely burned on those, so I made sure I had one set here. And overall, I'm pretty happy with that decision. The final trade I ended up taking was at 1058, and I actually re-grabbed a contract right here at that 4094 area. We had touched it before, we came down to touch it again, and we rejected pretty nicely. And that's really what I was looking for, and it actually ended up paying out. I had a fairly tight stop loss on it. I never went over $20, down $20. I just wanted to make sure that I held my pretty much $200 day. And then we got a little nice movement, and I was able to exit it. I was actually in it a bit longer than I would have liked, an hour and a half, or excuse me, 2.5 hours. But I did end up coming out of green as that trade as well. So my main watches, and the reason I was able to play this was so well, is 4100 on that SPX is just going to be a big level. The 50 increments on SPX are always a big level, especially with 4100. And you can always go back and look and see how we've played that then before. But any like 100, obviously 1,000, 500, things like that, those big levels, those big psychological levels. This 41109 was just the gap fill. If we pull up the daily, right there. So from where we closed on Friday to where we opened today, that's or excuse me, the low on Friday. That's all it is. And then because we opened below that, so we had a little bit of a gap. And you can see, I mean, we came up perfectly pretty much and touched it, went a little higher. But that was the reason for that level. As for tomorrow, we're kind of in a bit of an indecision. We have a lot of big earnings. We have another big week of earnings. And so I think a lot of the play is going to be on earnings. I haven't seen how they panned out so far, but we have big names in earnings. We're coming up to our EMAs and our SMAs, so they should act as a little support. It's really going to be because we closed right below 410, but we already reclaimed it after hours. If we open down decently below 410, what I'll look for is a retest of it and actually a reject. If we come up with good volume and strength, then I might look for calls. I'll be more hesitant on the calls, but if we kind of just tick our way up, I'll look for a reject at 410. That's going to be my main watch. Otherwise, if we come down to 407.5 kind of area, we have this candle that closed around there at the 408. We'll have our moving averages that'll be close to that. So around that 407.5 to 408, I'd look for a bounce to the upside. Other than that, I'm really going to have to see what pre-market has looks like for the earnings and where all those close. Otherwise, I mean, with a candle like this, a doji, your kind of assumption is that we go back up. But we had 3 greens, big doji at 410. So maybe we just wanted to come back, retest a strong level, and then we'll go back and go to new highs. We've had FOMC's Jerome's meeting wasn't all that bullish. It was actually fairly bearish. But then we also have him speaking tomorrow as well. I do believe Fed Powell speaks 12 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, so 11 p.m. for me. So yeah, we have him talking tomorrow. With the earnings and Powell speaking, it's hard to give me, in such a key level we're sitting at, I mean, it could go either way. If he gives us bad news, then I think we tank this level. If he gives us good news, I think we ended perfectly at a level that, depending on what he says and depending on what the earnings come out with, we could either see a big move down or a big move up. It really just depends on how the news comes out and how earnings comes out. So I gave you my thoughts. 410 will be that key area where I'll be looking to play. Other than that, until tomorrow morning, I won't have a better idea. But as always, guys, trade safe, trade smart, and make sure you live to trade another day.